Hey, what's going on guys, it's FPL Yusuf here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys my final team selection for game week 22. In this video we're going to go over some key questions surrounding this coming game week. We're going to take a look at some goal scoring odds, some clean sheet odds. I'll go through what my current watch list is looking like for players to bring in for this week, and of course I will show you guys what my final team is also looking like for the upcoming deadline. So I do hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and as always, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, welcome back guys. Thank you so much for being here with me today on my YouTube channel for another video. So let's start this off with some key questions first surrounding game week 22. And the first one up is Antoine Semenyo an option to buy now? At the time we record this, he's actually still very highly owned now. I think a lot of people, obviously bear in mind, they had him from the start of the season, right? So you've got a lot of teams who are part of that percentage that have probably stopped playing by now, which is, you know, part of the reason why his ownership so high. But also he was, you know, really performing well for Bournemouth. You know, he was at a decent price. He was around mid-range for midfielders. So he had a lot of upside with him. Now he's at Man City, of course, he's got a lot more competition. There's the likes of Ryan Cherki, Jeremy Doku, Phil Foden, SEMENYO. There's a lot more players who can play in his position. However, he has started life at Man City very, very strong. Obviously, he's played 2 games. First one was against Exeter. You know, we can't really count that, but he got a goal, he got an assist, man of the match as well. Second game against Newcastle, which was more of a bigger test, he did start that game, again, got himself a goal, and he's looking like he's fitted, you know, really well with how Man City are playing. So I personally think, yes, I want to talk about a little bit more about him later on in the video about my transfer plans, but I think, yes, he is an option this week. And I think going forward, I think with Man City players, you always have to expect that at some point they're going to be rotated out, whether it's Foden, whether it's Cherki, doesn't matter who it is. Those attacking players are always going to get mixed and matched. But I think for the short term, with Man United this week, followed by Burnley next week, I really do think that he's a great option and one that we should definitely be considering to look at. Okay, next is talking about all around Chelsea assets, and is now the time to bring them in. Obviously, we saw how they set up against Arsenal. A few injuries there. Obviously, Reece James, Caicedo, Palmer were missing. Delap was out. So there was a few players in there that I would be looking at for FPL, but obviously we're not 100% sure now. Just a timestamp this video. I'm recording this on Friday morning, so we will hear press conferences later on today to find out, you know, the sort of how fit everyone is. You know, a few of them were out with illness as well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they can start to come back soon, because Chelsea got a really nice run down. I think one or two of those attacking players, whether it be a Palmer, a Delap, you probably want to own them just because of the upside that they have. Obviously, we need to wait and see how Liam Rossini's Chelsea unfold, because against Arsenal, I mean, it is Arsenal, so you can't really take too much of it. They are probably the best team in the league at the moment. So I think we do have to take that one with a pinch of salt, but they didn't really look that great. They didn't really look that inspiring. But obviously, it was his second game in charge, first game at home. So, you know, there's still time there. But Chelsea's fixtures coming up are really, really nice, and definitely something that I want to target. So, yeah, I think from now, Brentford up first this weekend. It's an okay entry point. Obviously, Brentford having a great season in their own rights. But I do think that if you wanted to move for some of them, I would just wait and see what happens in the press conference first. Okay, now last question for this game week is about Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, he is back now. We have found out that Man United have got a new interim till the end of the season. Michael Carrick will be taking over from them. Now, I do expect Michael Carrick to push Bruno Fernandes back to his number 10 spot, which for attacking assists, you know, goals, all that stuff, is going to, you know, be a lot greater. But for DEFCON, I think we're probably rarely going to see it from him now. So we saw that in the week before we had these like 2 weeks off where he was playing that number 10 role. He didn't really accumulate much DEFCON, and I think that's one of the things when he plays in the number 10 spot, we're probably not going to see that. Of course, he still has penalties, which is a great upside. He will score more open play goals if he's playing in number 10, as well as probably get more assists. But I just don't know how Man United are going to perform yet. So I think maybe it's just a wait and see for now. Obviously, they've got Man City followed by Arsenal, so 2 very tough games for them. So this is probably not the right entry point for him, but it's a good window just to see on how Michael Carrick's Man United set up and how he plays in this new system. Okay, so let's take a look at some goals and some clean sheet odds this week. Liverpool are by far and away number 1 for both. Goals we'll start off with first, 2.52, very, very high expected goals. Obviously, the likes of Ekitike, Florian Wirtz is an outside shout, Szoboszlai, these type of players. A lot of, you know, some people may already be owned. I think a lot of people will probably have Ekitike. Some may be invested in Szoboszlai. But outside of that, I don't think anyone's really looking at Cody Gakpo or Florian Wirtz, even though I do think that this game could be quite high upside for them. But it is their last one of a good fixture run. So, you know, if you've got them, you keep them. If you haven't got them, I don't know if I'd be going out buying them for this one game week. You know, it's Burnley. Liverpool, even though it's on paper, Liverpool still haven't been that great this season, so I probably would take caution. I think, like I said, if you've got them, you just hold and keep them, but I don't know if I'd be rushing out my way to bring them in just for this odd game week. Next up on the list for highest expected goals is actually Brighton. Obviously, Danny Welbeck's there. You know, some of us might still own Jan Minte. So there's a few assets that, you know, we may end up having. I probably wouldn't be looking too far, you know, with the Brighton assets. They are quite a hit and miss team anyway. So yeah, we'll leave them where they are. If you've got them, same with Liverpool, you hold them. But I don't know if you go rushing out to get them. Chelsea in at number 3. Now, this one's probably more of a shout to bring them in, just due to the fact that obviously the fixtures afterwards are really, really good for the next sort of 4, 5, 6 game weeks. So the likes of Liam Delap, if we see that he's going to be back, I think he's somebody that is really, really interested in me, and someone that ideally I wanted to go to this week, but because he was out with illness, I'm not 100% sure whether he's going to play or not. So it might just have to be delayed by a week. But the likes of Cole Palmer, of course, if he's on the pitch, he's going to score penalties. Enzo, if he's starting to play in a number 10 role. So there's a lot of upside coming from these Chelsea assets, especially over the next few weeks. So yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. Last up on the list is Manchester City for highest expected goals, 1.9, just below that 2 goals. Obviously, Erling Haaland, most of us are going to be not on captaincy with him this week because his record against Man United is so good. But it's why I touched on earlier the likes of Antoine Semenyo, obviously Phil Foden, you know, you've got the likes of Jeremy Doku, Ray and Shirky. So they've got a lot of firepower up there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Manchester City put a few past this, you know, newly formed Manchester United side. We come on to the defence. Liverpool, again, number 1 for that, 47% against Burnley. Despite the fact that it's so high, I still probably wouldn't go out my way to get them. If you've got the likes of Van Dijk or maybe you've got Konate, just play them because of course you will. You know, Burnley at home on paper is a fantastic fixture, but I'm still unsure with Liverpool at the moment. You know, when it comes to defence and when it comes to their clean sheet. So yeah, if you've got them, play them. But I don't know if it's worth making a transfer just for a one-off. Arsenal at number 2 at 42%. Now, this is a team that I probably would say is worth bringing in if you haven't got them. I think most of us have probably already transitioned to Gabriel from last week or maybe even the week before. A lot of us probably own a second one, whether it be David Raya, Yuri and Timber, someone like that, maybe even a William Saliba. So, yeah, I think double up on the Arsenal defence is very viable. I personally myself have them. I think if you haven't got any Arsenal defence, definitely get one in. I think Forest away is still a decent fixture. I think Forest will probably end up going for a low block, so Arsenal will majority have more of the possession. I think they are going to concede. It will most probably be in transition. So hopefully, fingers crossed, as an Arsenal fan, I don't want to see that happen. And obviously, I am doubled up on the Arsenal defence, so I definitely want them to keep a clean sheet. Aston Villa at number 3 with 39%. I don't think a lot of us are probably going to be entered into the Villa defence. Maybe there might be an outside chance for someone who has Matty Cash, but other than that, I think, you know, it's the same as number 4 as well, Tottenham. I mean, Tottenham I wouldn't even go anywhere near, so we'll just skip over them. But I think Aston Villa, it's one of those fixtures that even though on paper they're looking like they've got a high chance of a clean sheet, you have to almost like do a little bit of outsourced planning and just think about what the next game is going to be like after that. And they're not really that inspiring. They don't really fill me with a lot of confidence. So again, same thing. I probably would only be looking at Arsenal defence this week. Liverpool, if you've got them, of course you play them. Same thing with Villa, but I wouldn't be going out my way to make a lot of transfers for those type of players this game week. Okay, so let's take a look at what my watch list is looking like. We'll start off in defence first. 1 and 2, they are both Arsenal defenders. Gabriel, of course, is going to be number 1. You know, I think he's just pound for pound the best defender in FPL. Clean sheets are so high. Goal scoring odds are so high for him. He just is far and away in the league of his own. So he's number 1. Now, I have gone for Ben White at number 2, and I think this depends on whether Calafiori is back or not. If Calafiori is back, you'd imagine Timber will go back to right back, and then you just change this for Yuri and Timber. But if Timber's back at left back, I think Ben White's attacking threat down that right hand side, as shown against Chelsea, is very, very high. You know, he does get forward, he does make overlaps, and he does get the ball into the box. And when you've got a striker like Victor Gyökeres in there, who we're going to touch on in a little while, I think that's only going to benefit his game as well, which means more goals, more chances created. So yeah, Ben White for me is an outside differential this week. But obviously, like I said, take it with a pinch of salt because Calafiori might be back and then it ends up being Timber back on the right, Calafiori at the left, and Ben White doesn't even play. So yeah, just bear that in mind. I've gone for Lewis Hall at number 3. I think Wolves away. Wolves are looking a lot better recently. So I don't know how much I'm hoping for a clean sheet from Newcastle. Newcastle are one of those teams that don't really fill me with a lot of confidence sometimes when they're going away from home. But he does offer attacking threat. He's very good down that left-hand side. And I do think that he will create chances for that Newcastle team. So I think he has quite a lot of upside with him. Number 4 is Reece James. And this is a little bit dependent on whether or not he's fit. So again, we might have to wait till later on today when we hear the press conferences about whether or not he's going to be available to play. So just, again, take it with a pinch of salt. And last up, I've gone for Virgil van Dijk. I think he probably is the highest owned Liverpool defender out of the community. So if you've got him, you play him. But as I said earlier in the video, I wouldn't go out my way to go and bring him in this week. On to the midfielders, and I've gone for a lot of risky picks here. So there's a lot of differentials in here. So we're going to start off at number 1. I have actually gone for Antoine Semenyo. Now, again, this is a gamble that A, he's going to play, and B, that he's going to play 90 minutes. I think Manchester City always create a lot of chances against Manchester United, especially in recent years. And I think with someone like Semenyo, who's almost like a shoot-on-sight type player, I think that this could be really well. This game could go quite well for him. Obviously, Man United defensively, we know that they haven't been that great this season. They've conceded some sloppy goals. They've conceded a lot of goals at times. So I do think for a goal-scoring winger like Semenyo, who kind of just his first instinct is to shoot, I think this game bodes well for him. So I've got him at number 1. Number 2, I've got Esteval / Cole Palmer. If Cole Palmer's fit, I will go for him. If we find out that he's not and he's still ill or whatever happened to him, then Esteval is my next pick on this. I think he's a very exciting player. And I think with Chelsea's run, obviously Brentford at home to start off, I think it's a nice fixture on paper. Rossini will probably be looking to get his first Premier League home win under the belt as well. So yeah, I think whichever Chelsea asset, if Palmer's playing, it's him. But if it's not, then I would go for Esteval. Number 3 is someone who's tried and tested, is Declan Rice. Obviously, we know he's going to play. We know he's going to play 90 minutes. There's a high chance for DEFCON. He has the assist threat. He does have open play threat from goals as well. So I think he all around is just a fantastic price point midfielder. I've gone for Florian Wirtz at number 4 now. Of course, Liverpool are predicted to score the most goals. Again, this would be a 1-week punt. I wouldn't be looking to hold Florian Wirtz long term, but a game against Burnley where they're predicted to score that many goals, I think that it would almost be crazy if he didn't get involved in the action. So yeah, Florian Wirtz in at number 4 as a differential. Number 5, Morgan Rogers, probably a little bit more high owned than the rest of these, but I think he's still a great option. I think he's ticking over quite nicely for Aston Villa, and usually when Villa score, he has something to do with it, whether it be him scoring or him providing. So yeah, they are at home to Everton. I think on paper that's quite a good fixture for them. Okay, and on to the forwards. I think number 1 and 2 kind of pick themselves. Erling Haaland, probably the best captaincy option this week against Manchester United. Ekitike at home against Burnley. So we won't really go into too much detail with them. I think most of us probably own them anyway, or at least definitely Haaland. Some people probably own Ekitike, but I think if you've got both of them, just play them, of course. Number 3, I've gone for a man who's been in really good form over the last sort of 6-7 game weeks, and that's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He is against Leeds. He is against Fulham at home this week, so I think that game could be quite a good... I could see almost like a 1-1, 2-2 type situation in that game, and, he's on penalties. He has a lot of upside. He's playing well. So yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin for me at number 3, and is very, very good priced as well. Number 4, I've gone for Victor Gyökeres. Now, this solely depends on A, if Ben White's playing at right back, and B, if Arsenal actually feed him the ball. I think this is the type of game where Gyökeres can make a nuisance of himself for the Nottingham Forest defence. He's physical, he's strong, he's fast, and I think his movement in the box will get the better of the centre-backs. It's just whether Arsenal can find him or not is going to be the big key. So he is a big differential this week, but I do like him as a pick. And number 5, again, we're kind of waiting to see what happens with the injury news, but Liam Delap, I've got him in there. I think, for me personally, I think he will start when he's fit and ready to go. So I do like him, and obviously with Chelsea's fixtures coming up, I think that bodes quite well for him as well. Okay, finally, let's take a look at what my current team is looking at for game week 22. So we'll start off in goal. Gianluigi Donnarumma, Man United away. Just a set and forget goalkeeper until probably until I wildcard, to be fair. So he's going to start. We've got the double Arsenal defence in Gabriel and Timber. Very happy to have them against Nottingham Forest. Forest, I think, will create odd chances, especially on the counter-attack, but I do trust Arsenal to go there and get a clean sheet. Lewis Hall against Wolves, we've touched on him. I don't really know how much. I think it's almost a 50-50 with the clean sheet, whether or not they get it. But I've got him in there more for the upside, and I think this game he will get, a lot of space down the wings to hopefully get the ball into either Voltemade or Vista. So hopefully we can see an attacking return from him. Trevor Chalobah, my last defender in there. Now, this one is solely dependent on if I make a second free transfer or not. I'm going to come on to that in a second when I speak about the midfielders. But Chalobah, for me right now, is starting, but that could change. So we'll come on to the midfield. Declan Rice, of course, is going to be there. Bruno Guimaraes, of course, is going to be there. My cult hero, who has been doing me wonders over the last few weeks. Morgan Rogers and Harry Wilson complete that midfield. Now, the only thing I'm thinking, I've got one more free transfer left, and I am contemplating moving Matheus Cunha out for Antoine Semenyo. Now, if I do make that move, which I think right now is probably like a 70-30 split in movements for Semenyo's favour, then I will probably end up benching Trevor Chalobah, which will make it a 3-5-2. So we'll go for Semenyo into the midfield, and Chalobah will move to the bench. And of course, up front, my 2 strikers, Erling Haaland and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Haaland with the captaincy armband. I just think, like I said, his record against Man United almost speaks for itself. And it's just something that there's opportunities that I've had this season to go against Haaland. This isn't one of them. I think Man United, we're unsure how they're going to play. It's a new manager. It's Michael Carrick. Man, they could beat Manchester City. Who knows? It could be one of those shock results. But I just think, for me, Erling Haaland's track record against them speaks for itself. So yeah, he will be, obviously one of the 2 up front, but will also definitely be my captain this game week. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I hope you guys have a great game week. If you've got any questions about my team, about your team, feel free to drop it in the comments down below, or alternatively follow me on X. I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. Thank you all so much for your support recently. I know the videos have been left kind of late this week, but I am trying to get them all out for you as quickly as I can. So hopefully you'll see this before Saturday morning, maybe Friday evening, just to give you guys enough time to watch it. But as always, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I'll catch you guys next time.